It's Monday, October 25th, 2010. I'm Kevin McShann, and this is the McShann Sports Beat Report. Mere hours away from one of the most anticipated NBA regular seasons in recent memory. Everyone around the league, from players, coaches, fans, everyone in the league office, and the NBA's Players Association seem to be more focused on the possibility of contraction and reducing NBA player salaries by as much as $800 million, all because of a bleak economic forecast the league is currently experiencing. CBSSports.com first reported on Thursday that the NBA would continue to be open to the possibility of contraction after NBA Commissioner David Stern announced he wanted to reduce player salaries by as much as 35%. ESPN's Steve Bunin and Stern provide further detail on the current state of the league and where things stand between the owners and the players as we get set to kick off the NBA season on Tuesday.
David Stern is nothing if not a master at the PR game. The NBA commissioner taking the leg up on the union in advance of the CBA expiring in June. Stern says the league will lose about $350 million this season, and then moving forward, player salaries need to drop 35%.
We are having good new season ticket sales. I don't think we'll have our highest season ever in attendance gate, but we'll have a top 5 year. I want to let our fans and our sponsors know that this is a sport that's going to have a good year, but it doesn't affect the underlying financial dynamics.
Los Angeles Lakers point guard Derek Fisher, who also serves as the president of the Players Union in the NBA, says the ultimate decision about contraction is out of the players' hands, and the ultimate final call will have to come from the league and the owners. That would be more for them in their decision-making process than in ours. We have a responsibility to protect as many jobs as we possibly can, so that would be for the commissioner, the league, and the owners to make a decision on contraction and number of teams and those things, Fisher said. Stern appeared on the Jim Rome show on Friday, where he discussed several issues surrounding the possibility of the NBA's lockout in 2011, which looms if there is no new collective bargaining agreement between the owners and the players by the end of the season. Among the topics of discussion was that of contraction, and Stern says that several issues will have to be discussed before any final decision is made on that particular issue.
Commissioner, what's your response to the report that contraction is a possibility? Is it?
I think it's a good subject for discussion as we talk about collective bargaining. Franchises losing a lot of money, needing a lot of revenue sharing. We're working on both collective bargaining and revenue sharing simultaneously, and that inevitably involves a decision about whether franchises that are losing enormous sums of money should continue, in effect, as failing enterprises. So, one of my concerns is, as commissioner, I've spent a lot of years thinking not only should we keep every franchise that we have, but we should add to it, and indeed we've added 7 or 8, I guess. But I think it's a healthy subject to, have a discussion about with our union and with our owners.
So that phrase, failing enterprises, how many would you consider are failing enterprises right now?
None. There are some losing money, and we're hoping that this season will show a turnaround in many of them, if not all of them.
I mean, this notion...
But the overall sum of money that the league is using is not going to be eradicated by one successful season.
And one more thought about contraction. If you were to contract, do you think that might improve the bottom line, and would it also improve the product itself, possibly?
No, I know there are those that argue that. The one thing I've said about that subject is that I'd rather improve the competition by building upon the fact that there are 300 million people in the U.S. and 6 billion outside, and we like our prospects out there. We now have 80 international players, and as more and more youngsters become elite athletes and bounce the ball rather than kick it, they're going to be knocking on our door. So we currently have the equivalent of 8 teams of players in our 80 international players that weren't even available to us a decade ago. But obviously, if you spread talent around, you're going to change your competitive mix a bit.
Deputy Commissioner Adam Silver said on Thursday that the NBA is projecting losses of approximately $340 to $350 million, and Stern reiterated on Friday that major economic changes are needed in order for the league to survive and stay afloat. Stern also said that the league and the Players Association has an obligation to their fans to get a deal done to avoid a lockout.
Let's talk specifics. I mean, are you looking for a $750 to $800 million reduction?
I'd say that's a good number. That's a number that we presented the players with in January, something of that magnitude. And we're looking forward to seeing whether there are things that we can achieve together.
That number is a pretty big number. Should we assume that there's going to be an inevitable lockout if, in fact, that is the number?
No, we shouldn't assume anything of the sort. That's why you have negotiations. I've been doing this now, as you said, as the longest-serving negotiator, and my negotiation goes back beyond the 27 years that I've been commissioner. And so I'd say we've, in all but one, we've managed to make a deal. So we still are hoping that this negotiation falls on the majority side of the ledger.
In terms of a deal or no deal, how reckless, let me check that, how risky would it be not to get a deal done?
Oh, we and the players have enormous capacity to inflict damage on our game and our fans. But that's why I think that the pressure will ultimately bring us closer together.
ESPN The Magazine's senior NBA writer Chris Broussard explains that some new NBA owners are worried about the potential impact of the lockout because their franchises haven't appreciated in value, while Buden explains the financial ramifications of this season's salary cap.
David Stern's statement that NBA owners are looking to cut player salaries by approximately $800 million is no bluff. From the league's view, neophyte owners such as Cleveland's Dan Gilbert, Phoenix's Robert Sarver, and Washington's Ted Leonsis bought their franchises at such premium prices that their value is not appreciating much, if at all. Therefore, they're far more resistant to losing millions of dollars each season than many of the league's older owners, who, after paying relative pennies for their club, have been willing to take annual losses. A hard salary cap, shorter contracts, possible contractions. The owners are ready to do whatever it takes to get what they want. Of course, the players aren't going to give up a third of their salary easily, which means that talk of an impending lockout is not just talk. It's real.
Lockout, contraction, these aren't words that fans want to hear. Here is the money situation broken down for you. The salary cap is $58 million, with the luxury tax kicking in at $70 million, so it's a soft cap. You can sort of be in that gray area of $12 million. The Lakers, by the way, have the highest payroll, and they also have the highest paid player in Kobe Bryant.
One thing is for certain, the NBA cannot continue to sustain itself at its current pace. There's a chink in the armor, and it needs to be repaired. One must wonder why secondary players such as Darko Milicic, Channing Frye, and Amir Johnson continue to receive contracts of $30 million apiece. It's no wonder that the league's financial books and bottom line haven't been balanced in years. Its teams continue to spend well beyond their means in order to obtain instant gratification. As a result, they're seeing the effects of their damaging ways, and now it'll take everyone rowing in the same direction in order to fix this problem, because it's clear the financial house of the NBA is out of order. Kevin McShann, Sports Beat, reports.